So often when we look at these behavioral reactions of children, it's important to see what is the emotion that is fueling this behavior. Is it frustration? Is it fear? Is it boredom? Um, and sometimes when we are able to identify the emotion behind the behavior, it allows us to derive a more effective response to what could be done. Yeah. So one of the things would be that for parents to kind of step back and say, what is this behavior communicating to me? Does this tell me that my child is angry, irritated, bored, or is it that my child is scared about something and that is what this behavior is showing? In some ways, I think parents often need to don the hat of a scientist and kind of see, okay, what's actually happening here? And one way to be successful in that effort might be to put ourselves in our children's shoes. To say, okay, if I were in their place, if I'm behaving like this, what would I be feeling? Or what would be making me do this? Yeah, so I think these are some initial exercises that parents will need to take before they set out to address behavioral challenges, so that they are more or less on the same page with their children, even though children are not telling them in words what their experience is. It might be easier for parents to understand this is what is happening. So that's one of the first principles. And once they've done that, once they've understood that, okay, this is frustration, irritation, anger. Yeah. So they could find ways of allowing the child to express this emotion in a safe way. Scribble really wildly on sheets of newspaper, or become wild cats or little lions, so that it's a safe way to get their frustration out, and then to see what else could they do. Often I think as adults we try and channel behavior in a way where we say, stop this. But then if that's what the system wants to do, I think it's important for us to help children find safer and more acceptable ways of expressing that, and then to see what else can be done. So I think these would be two background principles that adults, parents will need to keep in mind while we are trying to work with behavioral challenges in children. Another key principle is to have a somewhat predictable routine. Oftentimes children exhibit behavioral challenges when they find that things are very unpredictable. And which is also now part of the new normal, because even for parents who are working from home, then there are emergency meetings, there are things that are done to be at short notice. So they are also dealing with these unpredictable routines and then helping children work around them. So it's possible to try and see how they can anchor a few things which could be constants. We may not be able to predict everything in the day, but could there be some predictable moments? Yeah. So could there be some play or interaction in the morning around breakfast time? Could there be something in the afternoon, so that children know this is something that they can look forward to? And that also helps children regulate their difficult emotions when they know, okay, something better is coming up, or I know we're going to have this time where we will do this together. Then whatever difficulties they are going through, they are able to garner the resources to handle them for that time. These are very valid concerns, and it is a tough situation where exposure to social situations is key for a child's social development, particularly for children who may have some vulnerabilities in terms of being shy or being hesitant for social interaction. Given the high safety concerns, this is a really valid concern. So one of the things that one could do, given the safety precautions, is to see how a lot of pretend could be introduced. Yeah? So where possible, that there could be a variety of pretend situations introduced where there could be possible social interactions. So that is one, because when a child pretends, for the brain it is real, right? Even though it is a pretend situation, the brain thinks as if, if I were going to a birthday party, what would I be doing? What would I tell my friend? What might my friend tell me? So for the brain, it's all very real. Of course, in the absence of a real peer, it has its limitations, but this is one way for the child to exercise their abilities to see in that given situation what could be done, what are the possibilities. Another way to do it might be with established friendships, with other peers, even having communication over technology for the time being is something that can help social contact stay alive. Because even for young children to say, what did I watch on TV, or what story did I read, how are you spending your time, even to have like a 5-10 minute conversation over technology, even if it's over telephone or over a video call, though it does not allow the wide variety of social skills that actual in-person interaction would allow, it would still allow some amount of interaction. So parents could consider allowing children to connect with extended family members, friends, parents of friends over a period of time. So that's another thing. And of course, I think it's also useful to keep the worry balanced. Sometimes when we're too worried, then it pushes us to do things which may not be helpful. To kind of remind ourselves as adults that yes, this is a changing scenario. We're going to watch and see how this unfolds and what the implications are going to be for children. And while we are providing what is possible within limitations, to try and keep our worries also somewhat balanced. When a young child experiences stress, which is where their resources are not sufficient to deal with the demands that are placed on them, in this particular context where they are feeling overwhelmed with the multiple changes that are happening around them, or they are feeling overwhelmed by the responses of people around them, children can exhibit signs of being disturbed by these situations. Some of these could be noticeable in terms of changes in their appetite or in their ability to go to sleep or stay asleep, or them expressing experiences of worrisome dreams or nightmares. So these are things that children might exhibit. There could also be play which is demonstrating a lot of uh, destruction or damage and death. However, when children play these scenarios out, they are also resolving things for themselves. So I wouldn't necessarily see it as an unhealthy sign. The very fact that a child is playing it out suggests that the child is actually processing experiences, trying to make meaning for themselves, trying to problem solve and look at suitable opportunities. And I think it's okay to allow children to play it out. Sometimes parents may get concerned and say, okay, why are you playing this over and over again? Let's make it happy. But that doesn't work like that. That children will come to that point at their own pace, and allowing them that space to play it out would be helpful. Other signs could be children who have stopped bedwetting might start bedwetting again, or children who've been comfortable staying by themselves might want the parents' presence more or want to cling on to them more. There could also be situations where children are showing many more tantrums than what they usually did, or they seem to be making too many unreasonable demands. So I think these are all indicators that all is not well within the child's world. Yeah, and these are things that one needs to pay attention to, more for us to pause and consider what could be happening.